right, welcome to Musings, Rants, and Guitars. Although I think we're getting hijacked today by two of my favorite assholes.
Oh, fucking drummer and a bass player. Oh,
Drummer, yeah. We couldn't get musicians this week, so we got a drummer and a bass player instead.
Yeah, didn't get like an electrician or something to be on the show?
Well, I think it's about the same, right?
Triangle player next week.
Two. We'll make a square, baby.
That's right.
So, in the opening, that was Killcode, kicking and screaming. Good friends
Beautiful.
of mine. Great friends, actually, great friends of the whole show. We've had Chaz on before, and today we have, in the lower left, we have Rob Noxious, the drummer from Killcode.
What's
Rob's
up, everybody?
right there. Say hi, Rob.
Hi, everybody. Hope everybody's well. Miss you guys.
I miss you too, brother.
You. Everybody misses us. Misses you.
Yeah, and on the other side, I got these arrows down wrong, is Derek, bass player extraordinaire. I've actually been in a band with both these guys together, and I know they have been playing together since they were wee lads.
Oh yeah,
So,
young teens.
Yeah. So Derek, why don't you tell us the projects you're in right now? I know you're in Thee Unstrung and you're in Mystery Play, right? Is there anything else?
The unstrung.
Yeah.
That's the unsung.
That must be a
Unsung.
complex
See?
joke.
There you go.
THEE, unsung, one word, UNSUNG. That's an all original progressive trio. That's one of the acts. I'm in a cover band that I've been in forever, which has actually started out as an original band.
Amazing band.
That's
thank you.
the instrumental group, right?
The Unsung is the instrumental group. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Mystery Play is a band I've been in since I was a teenager. Not long after me and Rob stopped playing together.
Amazing band.
And we started out as an original band, but I don't know how it happened, but we became a cover band. We've been a cover band longer than we've been an original band now. But we did that. I've been in this band for years. And so that's a cover band. And another band I'm in right now that we haven't even played a single gig yet, but we got about almost 700 likes on our Facebook page just because it's a built-in crowd. It's an Audio Slave tribute called Shadow on the Sun. And
Very cool.
we were, we're just trying to get together. Getting together has been the biggest problem, and we were working on stuff. We had a bunch of tunes down, but, and then this shit show happened with the pandemic and put everybody at a halt. So, but I'm hoping that we get out with that once everything starts picking up, because I'm Joey, as you know, huge Chris Cornell fan.
Absolutely.
And I was super stoked to be asked to be in this band, and I hope we can get out there soon enough, But so yeah, those are the three that I'm currently in right now. That's what I'm doing. And all those, you can find everything on Facebook. None of them have proper websites right now. Mystery Play used to. We ended up getting rid of it. We're like, let's just use Facebook for now. And that's what's going on with the other acts too. You can find everything I'm doing on Facebook. The Unsung, Mystery Play, and Shadow on the Sun.
Right.
So,
Now, Rob,
yeah.
you've subbed in with Derek a few times in Mystery Play, right?
Well, let me first start by saying anybody who's
Yes.
asked Derek to be in, they're lucky to have Derek. Derek is like, I will get into that later, but he's my go-to guy as a bass player. The guy can play anything. He teaches me shit on the fly. It's great. I don't even have
Not music, just
No.
drums and shit, and
Exactly.
He's a drummer. You can't really teach him anything.
No.
But honestly, anybody who's working with him is blessed to have him.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Back at you, brother.
Yeah. I got to say, I've played in a band with these guys, and I was, I had played with Rob. We did a one-off song at a gig one time, and then I was asked to join a band with the two of them. And it was my first time really meeting Derek, and wow, just blew me away, because I was the only guitar player, and I'm a sloppy fuck. And man, to have Derek there, like, holding down everything as I'm just, going off whatever tangent I feel like going off in, it was amazing.
everything.
Yeah.
He's like I said, he's my go-to guy. I'll be honest with you. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, he's the guy.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
gonna
how
you're gonna make me
long have
blush.
How long have you and Derek been playing together on and off throughout the years?
Well, it's kind of a long story, but like
Yeah.
our first real band was in high school. Let's get to that later. I have an opening statement. So,
Okay. Yes.
so
Give me the floor.
Proceed.
this is why I'm here. This is a guitar player based show, correct?
We're gonna be pretty much sure on
yep.
that.
Well, I'm saying in general.
Pretty
you
much.
guys-
Well, I
all-
mean, it's a musician-based thing.
well,
know?
no.
And
So
we
we
don't
don't
know
really
why
talk to
you're on.
drummers
What are we
or
doing
bass
here?
players.
Everybody's
we don't talk to
already
drummers or
arguing.
bass players or even singers, for that
How
matter.
fucking dare you guys at this day and age have a fucking show that's only geared to guitar players? Isn't that at least racist?
That's racist.
I'm
That's
here to.
racist.
That is racist.
I am only here to.
Drummer lives matter.
I love you guys, and people have political differences, but I'm going to tell you, I'm here to protest your fucking show. That's fucking racist, at least. What about horn players? What about singers? What about keyboard players? I mean,
They need love too.
you guys
Yeah.
should be taken off the fucking air right now with all the shit I'm seeing going on the news. That's
You know
why.
what?
We like a few singers. I mean, there's like Dave Menichetti.
you.
Oh, that's right, he's a guitar player too.
Oh, he
you like
is?
Richie
Oh, yeah.
Kotzen? Oh, that's right, he's a guitar player
guitar.
too.
Ian Thornley?
I love
guitar
Ian
player.
Thornley. Chris Cornell, I love. Oh, he played guitar. That's
You
right.
play guitar too.
Regardless, your show is racist, and other musicians' lives matter as well. So this should be taken down, and it just goes to show you there's at least a double standard going on here.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
If
Well, you know, we're
here's
fairly
my-
new and we just haven't gotten around to them yet.
listen, here's my
Yeah, that's it.
if
Yeah.
as musicians I can come on this show with my buddy Derek, who's not a guitar player either, the whole world could get their shit together and stop fucking being assholes.
That's
And-
No
true.
kidding.
Fucking stop already.
Well, all right. So
I'm
in
glad he
defense
said
here,
it, not me.
in
Have a
defense
drink.
here, I'm gonna say one thing. I did start as a drummer for 2 years before I couldn't get a gig because there were so many better drummers, and then I got a gig as a bass player. And you guys both know that I went to Five Towns as a bass player. I was a bass major.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, every once in a while, I still get the gig on bass. As a matter of fact, I think, Rob, you saw me do the Let It Bleed thing.
Oh, I do know all about this.
Yeah.
And I would imagine you'd be, look, just like as a guitar player, playing with you is a delight. So I would imagine you'd slam it. Well.
Yeah. I couldn't wait to have you guys on, both of you. I
And
mean,
by the way, I love playing guitar. I play guitar. I've been playing it forever. And the only reason I chose drums at a young age over playing guitar, I was very good at both, and we're talking second, third grade, is because I was a huge Kiss fan as a little kid, and I thought Peter was the coolest guy in Kiss.
Oh yeah, Peter was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
As a
So
kid,
when both of my teachers came to me and said, you really should pick one and just kick its ass,
Right.
I picked drums because Peter was the coolest guy in Kiss.
Yeah,
Period.
absolutely.
And then my life went to shit. So there you go.
Yeah. So,
yeah, Peter was pretty damn cool.
wow.
Kiss was just cool all in all back at that age when they first came out. I was a Kiss fan back then because they were so different, and obviously what they were doing, it was more show than anything. Not like they were fantastic musicians, but they were passable.
Yeah.
I mean they get ripped a lot, but Simmons.
I don't know.
is
The records. I've always said, and this is always my opening line is, if there were no Ace Frehley, there would be no Tom, right? So I mean,
Right.
it's just he was the guy who was most visible, and you knew who he was. I mean, there was before I knew who Jimmy Page was. I knew who the Beatles were. I knew who the Stones were, but I didn't know other than Jagger or John and Paul. I mean, well, you knew all the Beatles because everybody knew all the Beatles. But Kiss came out, and all of a sudden you knew that each of these guys and each of them were individuals and did this whole show. But the flaming guitars, guitar solos, drum solos, everything. So we can make fun all we want, but they are for our generation. They were probably our Beatles as far as making everybody play.
Absolutely. It's the only
Yeah.
reason why I do it.
All right. Well, before we get too far, we already have a lot of people on the chat.
All right, what do they got?
Says hi,
Cool.
he's here, and besides that, Ed says Rob Noxious is a drummer god, and he asks, "Where is Rob?" But we know you're outside.
Who's that?
We're not gonna leave it. Ed Shin.
Who's that shadowy figure?
Ed
Yeah.
Shin is the best. I mean, come on. The whole local music business would be nothing without Ed Shin.
Absolutely.
He's a
So-
saint.
Big,
He
big,
wanted to say
big
hi.
supporter of the show.
Yeah.
Big supporter of the show. So
Also,
thank
another
you,
one
Ed.
on the show, Kurt Stanley, who's on.
I love
man.
him too. He's another. Look, if there was a clone of Ed Shin, that's Ed Stanley.
Yeah. So Kurt says one of my favorite guitar players and one of my favorite drummers on the same show. This should be good. Thanks, man. Ed Shin said when we were talking about the three of us being in the band, he was saying, "Yeah, Amanda Hawker's band." Like, yep, Amanda was that was our front
Right.
person.
Absolutely.
Killer. Kurt says, "Let the punches fly," and he wanted to say hi to you, Rob.
What's up, buddy?
All players matter, some more than others. Well, I guess he's talking about guitar players.
I'm talking
Well
about
said.
me, obviously.
There was a lot of chat today. I think that's where we're at right now. I think we're caught up.
Well,
Wait,
hi, everybody,
Ed wanted to know, Derek, who are your influences?
My influences.
Yeah, and then we'll ask Rob the same thing. So we'll.
It started Geddy Lee, Steve Harris. Those are the guys. If you were listening to any of that type of music, prog rock or metal back then, those are the guys across the board for any bass player, fledgling bass player, and it certainly wasn't any different for me. It was Geddy Lee, Steve Harris for sure.
Yeah.
As the years wore on, I started to get into other players that were like pushing the instrument even more. Guys like Michael Manring. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's like he's been around since the 80s, like a new age kind of bass player, and doing a lot of solo bass work. Taking cues from Jocko, but even taking it even further with things like tapping and everything like that, and harmonics. Jocko was doing that stuff too, but with the harmonics. But he took it to a whole nother level, Michael Manring, and I was turned on to him just a couple of years into my playing.
Sexually or like playing wise?
What's up?
Sexually or playing wise?
Both, a little bit of both. But really, he was. It just showed you what could be done on the instrument, and so I took cues from that, and I still use those techniques to this day in my original work with Thee Unsung, and I did it obviously in the early days of Mystery Play as well, and guys like Victor Wooten, Dave LaRue, John Paul Jones, the classics obviously too, besides Geddy and Steve Harris, Paul McCartney, John Paul Jones, Chris Squire, all those guys had a big impact on me that I absolutely just loved their playing, and that's kind of where my style derived from, was through the combination of all these guys, listening to all these different players, and so that's it for me as far as influences.
Very cool.
Really.
I mean, in the bass world, obviously. I mean,
Right. How about your porn world? What like your porn
John
star,
Holmes was a big influence.
Huge.
Yeah.
He was great. Rest in peace, John.
They buried him 6 feet 12 inches under.
Derek, you kind of look like him.
Right, a little slightly. I could be his love child. I could be one of his kids.
That's
You
why you
never know.
keep that mustache.
You never know. Yeah.
So Rob, what about your influences? Who's
Well, first off, everybody who knows me well knows I'm horrible with names. So
okay?
obviously, with that being said, I mean, look, as a kid, I just already said Peter Criss,
Yep.
just because of the whole thing. But yeah, let's go quickly. John Bonham, obviously, Neil Peart, Clive Burr, the first drummer from Maiden, and obviously Nico as well. I think Lars, especially in the early days, was an innovator. He freaked me out and had me confused, but I was trying to learn all that stuff. So he's a huge influence. Lucky to have met him, honestly. Let's see, who else? Scott Rockenfield from Queensryche.
Great drummer.
Yeah, absolutely.
I try to steal his sound every time I record, and I've never ever gotten it right. That
stuff is
but
badass.
besides his playing, he's amazing. I'm a huge fan of a little band that nobody really knows over here, but they're huge out of Canada, and they're called Our Lady Peace.
I love them. I motherfucked them last week or 3 weeks ago.
This guy Jeremy, who's not in the band anymore, and they are currently running around. I can't remember his last name. He's a geeky guy, but like I find myself, I steal everything from this fucking guy. I don't know why. It's just there. I love the drummer from Smashing Pumpkins. I love Stephen Perkins from Jane's Addiction is probably right now my ultimate, and has been for 20 years. And I was lucky to actually play on a bill with him out in Hollywood, not too many years ago at one of those open mic jams. The list could go on and on.
Yeah, seriously. Really.
Obvious, but like, those are the guys that I find myself stealing shit from all the time.
Oh, awesome. So, we've all, obviously we're, okay, let's see if it's coming back up.
Bro.
Nice slide.
Okay, all right, we're back in. Okay, go ahead.
Working on that.
Rob, if you can remember where you were. I'm sorry.
So Joey's tour got canceled based on
everybody's tour being canceled.
Going on. So the guys, social distancing and whatnot, have been going in and we're way ahead of schedule on the Killcode album, which ironically, with all this bullshit going on, is kind of good, right? But as far as releasing it and supporting it with the tour, we don't know what to do. So we had to push back the release date, but it'll be done before. So it's really fucked up how you have the best of both worlds there. My world, I same sort of situation. I did a bunch of drum tracks for a bunch of songs, and we've been lucky that they were done because those guys have been able to finish that stuff, and we've been, leaking out songs while everybody's home watching, the internet because they can't go anywhere. So I've actually been lucky in the original side of the world that I got my drums done before this shit hit. Otherwise, we'd be in a real predicament,
Awesome.
And you would say that the drums is probably the more technical part of any recording is laying down the drum tracks, right?
You want to look them down first, generally,
Yeah, I mean, usually I would have to say it is, whether guitar players or the other guys involved are fucking understand that.
I don't know. Just get a machine, for Christ's sake.
It's your template. You that's where it starts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And obviously you could have scratch tracks with guitar and bass and all that, and sometimes drums, you might keep those scratch tracks.
Yeah, but the drums you got to have down. And
you got to get the drums
down. And in the case of Killcode, we go to this really killer place that I don't really want to disclose the name because it's a secret of mine, and I don't want everybody fucking going there.
Right.
But we were able to get in there in that location, and you get the great sound out of it, and then everything else goes back to Joey's house, and they track the rest of the stuff at his house. So not only, like you were just saying, it's the beginning of whatever. It's the only thing that's done outside of Joey's facility. So we were very lucky to be able to get in there at the time. None of this was going on. We had to get me in there so Joey could go on tour. Then the whole world changed.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. So, Derek, what have you been doing?
All I was doing since this whole thing started, I haven't touched a cover song in months. I haven't done anything to learn a new song. I was just strictly working on music, just bass strictly. I mean, I actually do play guitar too. I play acoustic guitar. It's actually right behind me. But I do a lot of writing on acoustic guitar, but I haven't actually touched it in a long time. But I've written a lot of stuff over the years. What I missed that?
I said fucking traitor.
I was just thinking Rob wandered off and forgot he was on a show. Drummer.
Oh, Rob went over took a piss.
I was just letting
wandered off.
He's like, okay, gotta get.
No. All right. See ya. But yeah, I mean, strictly, dude. That's all I've been working on is bass lines and Thee Unsung, which has been great because it was a great release. And like I said, cover songs. I have a blast playing covers. I really do. It's a lot of fun. But there's a roadmap. You just got to sit down with the song and learn it. With original stuff, well, you're writing it, you're creating it. So, you know, you could spend hours and hours and hours coming up with a single bass line, you know.
Right.
Some of them come quicker than others, but
it's a different mindset. It's a completely different mindset. I mean, it's the difference between, you know, again, just using a roadmap and creating the map, right? So you know, you're touching upon places inside you, which
absolutely,
you know, and you're trying not to take
much places inside of them and outside of them.
Guys are fucked up.
God, and that's being creative.
Yeah.
No, Tommy, totally. I mean, it's
so true. I mean,
it's actually what's gotten me through the days a lot easier, being creative. And like, you know, I was just almost every night, it seemed like I was just at it, you know, just because I needed the release. I needed the therapy of it just to get away from all the craziness, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, again, covers are a blast, but writing your own stuff is a lot more gratifying because it's your own. It's your voice, you know, you're not playing somebody else's line. You're writing your own line. And so I spent a lot of time, that was all the time I spent was actually just working on original music. And it was great because Thee Unsung just started up with rehearsals again, you know, wearing masks and everything at rehearsal.
Yeah.
It's a little weird, but you know, we're doing what we got to do. And you know, I was like, oh, I can't wait to present these ideas to the guys. You know, I was telling them, I got a lot of different ideas for a lot of different songs, and you know, a bunch of existing songs, but we're just like constantly tweaking them. You know,
right.
So and being an instrumental band, have at it. You know, we don't have to worry about stepping on the toes of a vocalist or anything.
Right.
You know, it's just you know, worrying about lyrics and things like that, and you know, so we could just play to our heart's content, you know, and you know, it's just it's a great avenue for creativity, you know.
Right. So you're saying that see, now I had heard they took an instrumental prog band like you guys and they put you in the middle of New York City so nobody be wandering the streets.
That's right.
Oh, exactly. Or backing up Yoko. So we're not really sure what was going on there.
Listen, I mean, all kidding aside, obviously being an instrumental progressive trio is a very niche-y thing, you know, and it's not like, you know, I hear they're really in demand, you know, that's why I joined this band. You know, it was more, well, the thing was, the guitar player in the band, Steve Manisavage, I played with him in a band previously called Never After.
Really cool guy, by the way, and a great player.
Actually, I have one of our things right there, too. This wasn't set up like this, by the way. I had to actually shift the room around because the lighting sucked in here so bad.
Yeah. But we're as you can see, we've spent time.
Well,
right.
Rob and Derek, you've both been down here.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah.
So you know what this looks like. It does not look like this.
No, yeah, I know. It's like, what do you
need to get out of your phone?
No, it's usually more lit up. And I spent literally probably about me and my wife 10 minutes trying to get lighting on. Why don't you put the thing here and, you know, put the laptop here and we're trying to put this light on and, you know, raise the shade and just try to. So we got to
But this is totally the man behind the curtain here because you guys have seen you guys have tried this here. You know what it's like down here.
My room is completely trashed. It looks awesome like this, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
From the waist down, this fucking place is just.
I do like the.
Much like you, from the waist down, you're a mess.
It's fucking all over the place, man. I wish that thing would work.
Yeah, but I have it. Go. I'm sorry, Derek. Go ahead.
No. I was just going to say, just for another little shameless plug, even though the band doesn't exist anymore, we've talked about maybe the thought of getting together, but it used to be a 5-piece Never After. We do have a couple of albums on iTunes, and you can probably find us on Reverb Nation as well. I played on their second album called Imago. The first album was called Rebel in the Chaos. But I actually really do miss that band, and it was such a unique, interesting band where we had two vocalists up front, a male and a female vocalist, and just a really cool dynamic, you know. And we ended up, it's funny, when we did the recording of Imago, it turns out that the two singers, male and female singer, they got married. They hooked up because of the band.
Right.
Like, she auditioned for their band years ago, and they ended up hooking up together, and we're like, wow, that's, this is before I even got in the band, and then they went through a divorce right at the end of the recording of the album. And
Awesome.
we're like, and initially she's like, you know what, I'll continue on with the band and everything. And then about a week later, she's like, yeah, no, I can't. And I didn't blame her. I mean, how do you play in a band with somebody that you're getting divorced from?
Yeah.
Well, Fleetwood Mac did it, I guess, right?
Yeah, true, right?
And huge.
Apparently,
Maybe they weren't
maybe
married,
you guys
though,
should get back together again.
Yeah. But so she left the band, and here we were with this CD. We were like in the process of mixing it, and we were, we were proud of it. It's like, it came out good. We dug it, and suddenly we didn't have the female vocalist anymore.
Wow.
And so we were kind of like left, like, oh, what do we do? And so we kind of like dragged our feet for a while, and then we finally just finished up the mixing, and then we just fucking released it, and then we auditioned some other female vocalist, and we got another vocalist into the band, Denise Diavanzo, who had played in a bunch of different like metal cover bands and stuff. Mm-hmm. She did some stuff with Thunderbox.
Yeah.
And
okay.
I did a gig with them.
Yeah, well, they had different singers over the years, so but I don't know if she was in it when you saw them, and it was another metal cover band that she was in. But anyway, we did like a 3-song demo with her, and then my singer moved down to Florida, and then the band just kind of imploded after that. We did a few gigs just as a 4-piece, actually, with just her fronting the band, but the dynamic was lost, not having that female-male, dynamic going on.
Right.
And so yeah, that imploded, but that's a band I miss. But anyway, the guitar player from that band I played with in Thee Unsung. Okay. So, and it was a pretty easy transition because we have such a good chemistry together, writing together, and he was trying to get me into the band, and it was a slow burn getting into the band because I was like, I don't know if I want to do instrumental music anymore, blah blah blah, and everything. And I want to have vocals, but once I started getting into it and doing it, dude, it was such a great release and such, just great creativity, and everybody's contributing, the ideas are flowing, and we're coming up with these, in our opinion, these really fucking cool, dynamic, interesting, progressive songs, and so I'm taking multiple solos in a song, and that's great. It's just it's a great way to express myself, and I'm really digging it now. That said, I don't know if we might have some vocals here and there. We're thinking about maybe pulling some singers that we know to maybe sing on a track or two, see what they could do with it. Because the songs really do. It's not just a bunch of fucking wankery. It's, just guys noodling constantly. There's a lot of melody going on through it, because just constant wankery, that doesn't interest me. I like melody. One of my favorite bands is the Beatles, or my all-time favorite band is the Beatles. Right. So I love melody. I love Paul McCartney's bass playing. All those guys, the melodic, Chris Squire.
Yeah.
So there's always that thread of melody going through the music. It's just not just like mindless jamming and everything. And so we hope people can come out and see us once we do get out there again. And check out a show, I mean, not just a fucking video on fucking YouTube or something, because that, as you guys know, at least for me, I get frustrated with that, because it's like it's not like a true representation of, as opposed to being there live in a room with a band. You guys,
one of the things we talk about too, first off, we're locked down and not being able to play live, but playing live. And the dynamics of live, and Lenny's and I, always talk about this. He was always there, good band or bad band, but there's definitely a huge difference between the dynamics, the feel, the vibe when there's live music, right? And good live music. You deal with the crappy, but there's so many times it's so good, and people don't. A lot of people who spend too much time listening to music on YouTube, on their computer, or with earbuds, which compress the shit out of everything, man.
Right.
To feel a live band coming at you and feel the air move and the excitement is so different.
100%, dude.
100%. The energy.
Yep.
Yeah, energy is so different.
And the energy.
and the dynamics are so different. You know, you're not compressed, man. You're in a room, you're feeling it. You're feeling, you know, the bass is on, you know, on the right side, the guitar is on the left, and you're just you're feeling that and how it's supposed to be coming at you, and what live music is supposed to be, and music.
You feel the
Well,
winds.
absolutely. I mean, coming from as a bass player, you know, you're listening to your laptop right now to a song. The bass is lost. You don't even fucking hear it. You know, and
right.
you hear no bottom end, and you're like, well, what's that guy doing? You know how many times I've gotten over the years from like non-musician players, well, what's bass? Like, so much of people don't know what a bass does.
Well, it doesn't it just go boom, 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 boom,
right.
boom, boom.
Well, honestly, when I try to describe it to people, sometimes the easiest things are the most obvious ones. Rapper's Delight. Boom, 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 ba-doom, doom, 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 da boom. You know, Under Pressure by Bowie and Queen. You know, you try to pick out these specific things, songs that's the bass. That's what that's doing. Right. You know, because they don't know otherwise. Because obviously we're, you know, at odds with frequency levels and everything like that. So where,
absolutely.
You know, you're playing in rooms where sometimes you can hear yourself great. Other times I could be right in front of my fucking amp and I don't hear a thing. You know,
yeah, that's a challenge.
It is a challenge, and Joey, you should know that, being that you played bass for years. You know the challenges of it and everything, and you're not, you know, I mean, it's like sometimes you're just feeling it, but you're not hearing the articulation of the notes and everything else, and that gets frustrating. And sometimes because of that, and I've been guilty of it too, you start playing harder, and you start getting more fatigued, and you're not relaxed. You're not, you know, and you know, and some nights it's like, wow, this is killer. It's sounding really good. And other nights it's like, I can't hear a fucking thing I'm playing right now. You know?
Yeah.
But
I always like to describe, like somebody said, like, what is the bass player? What is he doing? Like, well, that's the guy that drives the station wagon with the gear to the gig.
That's right.
Station wagon. What the fuck is that?
What the fuck is that? Right? That shows how old I am.
Well, the thing is like I tell people too, it's like, you know, that's what's making you move right now.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
You know?
True.
And, you know, coupled with the drums and everything, you got to have that, you know, that foundation, man, because if you don't have that foundation, and that's something that Rob and I created well together over the years working together, we were just a fucking solid unit, not flashy, just fucking solid, and doing what we had to do, doing our job. You know, playing these cover songs, you know, and just holding it down so the other people that, you know, could shine, the guitar players, the singers, you know, you want to do your job. And you got to have a good rhythm section to make that happen.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, the rhythm
You guys were holding it down, creating the foundation for everyone else to do whatever it is.
Absolutely. Well, that's what it's all about. You know, you know, it's like you got to know your place depending on what you're doing, what kind of music you're playing. In an instrumental prog trio, I could play to my heart's content, do whatever the fuck I want to do. And that's great. And I love that. But I also love being able to play a James Brown groove that's a repetitive figure over and over and over again. You know why? Because if there's a fucking groove there, I love that shit as well. You just drive it home, play it all day long. Mystery.
That ain't easy. That's not easy.
It's not easy. But once you do lock into it, you know you're.
Oh yeah, when you're locked in, anytime you're like anytime when everything is just completely slamming together like that on you know, even, you know, like 30-second break where you can just go, fuck, we're there.
Right. Know? Absolutely. You know it. You know when it's happening, and you know when it's not happening.
And you're right. And either you're playing catch up or
right.
You're trying to do. No, man. When it's there, you know, you get the chills. You just absolutely. And you feel like it can't even break. You know, when you're doing it, it's just like fucking. Oh, we're there.
Yeah, dude. That's what I miss, man. I really do about live performance, and because that energy is being thrown back at you when you're in the groove. And you're up there jamming, and you know it's grooving, and you know out in the audience they're feeling it. There's no better fucking high in the world, man. You know, you're making these people move. You know, you're evoking emotion out of them. You know, there's nothing better being a musician than doing that. And that's always been the thing for me. It's like somebody asked me like years ago, like, what do you want to get out of playing music for people? I was like, I wanted to do the same. I want to do the same thing to people that music did for me growing up and going to concerts.
Yep.
Just fucking moving me, you know,
Yeah.
evoking emotion out of me, whether it's aggression, whether it's melancholy, whether it's sad, you know, any of those things. If I can do that to somebody else, fucking mission accomplished, man, you know?
I want to see me looking back at me. I
Right.
want to see the feeling I had and go, yeah,
Right.
back at me, because
Absolutely.
that's what brought me there.
Right. Total 100%. That's why we do what we do, right? If everybody was in this just to, you know, listen, if I don't make it by this year or this age, well then, you know, I'm packing. That would be 90% of musicians.
I gave myself to 90. By then, if I don't get good,
Right. You know, but that's
I
what
wish
you
it was 1990, so you'd stop fucking playing. Jesus.
back it up, man. At that point, it's just like, yeah, no good.
done.
You know, but that's the thing. I mean, well, as instrumentalists, none of us are like, well, Tommy, I don't know. Do you sing? I mean,
Oh yeah, you know, there's some dead fucking animals out there that I've sung to. I'm just the worst singer in the entire universe.
well, no, but I mean, primarily everybody here, we're
Yeah.
instrumentalists, you know, so it's
Yeah.
like, you know,
Unfortunately, you've had the privilege of having me lead sing a couple of tunes for you a few times.
well, I don't want to bring that up, but you did, so that's on you now. No, well, dude, no, you can sing. It's just, you know what it is with singers.
Yeah.
Everything's, especially doing cover stuff. It's nichey, and like I played with some really great singers, and some singers that did certain covers, and somebody would critique it. It's like, well, yeah, because he's playing all these different genres. Sometimes you're not suited for
Yeah, absolutely.
a certain song, and I'm not pointing at you, Joey, saying that.
Oh,
Like,
I know. I have about this
I'm
much.
pointing at him. Where is he?
I have
Which one
about
of you?
this much I can do. I know.
but
that I
no,
can
but
do.
like you have like a petty thing going on
Right.
with your voice, you know, and you can, you know,
He's petty.
Yeah,
he is very petty about things aside from being like petty.
I'm petty.
But you know, Mystery Play, we have multiple vocalists. We have 3 main lead vocalists up front, and that serves us well because it's like, you know, well, you know, you don't sound good singing this song. And this guy would sound better singing this song. You know what I'm saying? Like, these guys could be suited for different tunes, and sometimes they're tackling tunes where I feel like the other guy would sound better singing that song.
Right.
You know, but at least we have those options that are, you know, at our disposal. But you know, but when you're in an original band like Rob is, like with, you know, Killcode, that's their sound. You know,
Absolutely.
that's time.
And-
you know, if you asked his singer to sing a fucking Chris Cornell song or a Freddie Mercury song, he may have a problem with it. He may not, but that's not his style. You know what I'm saying? They have their style. They have their sound. You know,
Absolutely.
so you know,
Rob's singer. I mean, I've gone to see those guys quite a few times. I took the
we've
trek
done
out to
shows
Jersey to
together.
see you.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about live music is you don't get that. I mean, obviously, I went because Rob was there, you know, and I know the other guys in the band. I love them all, you know, and me and Rob go back to L.A., you know. But Rob's singer, Tommy, man, brings something on stage that you don't see many guys do, and you can't really describe what it is, but he like captivates you, you know.
Well, he's got
like,
charisma, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Charisma.
You know, it's
Well,
just
that's,
something.
That's really the only reason I hang out with him. You know?
Yeah,
He's
he's
the
got a
stage
good
general.
voice, you know, but man, the way he commands the stage is fantastic. I mean, obviously, your whole band does, Rob. I mean,
Yeah, we have 5 egotistical maniacs.
yeah,
Like Motley Crue or whatnot. Like when we step on a stage, there's something there.
absolutely.
You
Yeah.
know,
That's a
I've
good
played in
point.
a million bands, but let me tell you something. Even on our worst night, when that shit fires up, there's something going on there, and that's basically really the reaction. Why we get the reaction we do, you know.
Absolutely. You guys are fantastic.
Well,
I've
we're
been
all out-
fortunate
we're
to
just
do
all
shows
trying
with
to
you.
We're just all trying to outdo each other.
Yeah.
But Tommy's charisma is fucking amazing. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Rob, I mean, don't, you know, you got to say, man, I've never seen a guy that can be as steady as you all the time. And we've done a couple of gigs that went to the wee hours of the morning, or, for example, the 4th of July party we did a couple of years in a row.
Oh, yeah.
And listen, I I don't think Rob was standing. I don't think he could stand.
Well, that's why he needed his strum stool.
Yeah, and yet he was behind the
kick
kit and just dead on. Like, that's why I love playing with you two, especially because I had so much freedom, not having to worry. You held down, the rhythm and everything going on in the background. And you remember the last time we played out there, man? I had a keyboard on stage. Remember, that was a hot as balls day too. I think it was really ridiculous
hot. Too.
And I was like, you know what? These guys have got this shit down. I'll throw a keyboard up there. We were doing, we did Party in the USA. Remember that?
Yeah.
Did a low end keyboard on that.
I haven't touched that song since.
No, I haven't either. That was but it was funny. Yeah, we were fucking hammered.
Well, just so everybody listening knows, we're kind of blessed that. I don't know what's going to happen this year. Probably not because of all the shit. We're blessed to get a huge corporate gig, which is the PC Richards Family's 4th of July party.
Yeah, that was a good gig.
And that's what Joe was talking about. And dude, I grew up with the Richards, but you couldn't describe it any better. By the end of that night, I'm fucking like 50 beers in the hole. And I can't stand, but I can play my drums somehow.
No, that is pretty impressive, dude. I got to admit, because
I drink while I'm playing.
No. Well, that
you go through at least a case of Bud Light.
That's a pretty good gimmick.
One after the other, boom, boom, boom.
I'll tell you where I learned that gimmick. When I used to frequent Nashville a lot, and in those bars, I got to know a lot of people. I got to sit in with a lot of blues bands, and to the point where even when I would go out there for my regular visit every year for the NAMM show, the drummer would stay home and I would play gigs and get paid. Like, it wasn't just sitting in anymore. But sooner or later in there, I learned everybody always has this problem. Guitar players must have it too. Everybody must. What if you're in the middle of something you need to itch? You got to scratch. You just can't fight off. You got to use one hand and go. So I figured out, if I just put my stick over here and grab my beer and I'm playing a blues beat,
or balls,
whatever, I can fucking drink and play. And then I just hold it there for 30 seconds, and people are like, "What the fuck is this guy doing?" It's the stupidest thing in the world, but as a gimmick, it worked. People fucking go.
They love it. They love it.
That's what it is. Yeah. I gotta tell you,
it becomes a problem because I'm not just drinking between sets. I'm drinking while I'm playing.
Yeah.
So, by the end of that night, I'm shot.
Rob, this is what the show actually really was about. It's an intervention.
This is an intervention.
Yeah.
It's not working.
It was under the rules of this whole thing, and Joey got me involved, and Len and Tommy, and said, "Listen, we got to help this guy." No, but
not working.
It is actually impressive, dude, because I personally can't play fucked up. I could play with a good buzz on, and I'll always have a beer up there with me, but I can't be hammered up there because there's some guys that can pull it off well and some can't. I'm one of those guys that can't. I need that dexterity. It starts going out the window once I cross that threshold. Like I said, I could play with a pretty good buzz on, but I can't play with a slew of beers around me.
Hey, look, I'm not proud of it, but I've been put in the position, and it happens. I mean, what do you do?
Yeah.
Well, it depends.
Nowadays, with all this shit, I actually my tempo isn't going like this. It's actually fucking right there.
Yeah, you are.
Well, that's a good thing. Well, again, it depends on the gig, dude. It's not like when we're having fun at a gig like a PC Richard gig or something like that. We're having just fun, so it's as long as the band is sounding good, then that's good. When the musicians start to play poorly, then it's a problem. Because you're getting paid for your services, and you don't want to be like a drunken fool up there. You know?
I think the roughest part of that gig was the last half hour with the pop punk stuff. We did all the Green Day,
Yeah.
It's everything's starting to pick up speed, and Rob's just going. He's not having a problem, but I'm.
And let's face it, whether it's that type of gig or even a regular original gig, it all depends on the audience. Half of them are fucking smashed too. So even if they don't give a shit, they see me drinking a beer and playing, they love it. They go crazy. You're one of them. You know what I mean?
That's why when people taking, video with their phones and everything, that's the great equalizer. Because if you're right there along with them and you got a good buzz going and they do too, and then you watch one of those clips the following day, you're like, ooh, that was a little rough. You know, it's like it just shows you like, maybe we could have been a little bit more polished.
We have a question up on the
Shouldn't
chat.
have drank so much, you know.
Yeah.
What do you-
Well, I'm not pointing at any specific gig. I'm just saying in general, it has happened as all the
Derek's
gigs that
pointing his
we've all
finger at
played.
you. He's pointing
over
his finger at you.
Yeah.
All the gigs we've played over the years, yeah, you know, but I mean, aside from having a couple of drinks, there are just nights that you're off. You're gonna have those nights. You know why? Because we're fucking human, and you know we're not machines up there, and you know you're gonna make mistakes. You know.
Yeah.
That's
Rob, we had a question up in the chat. Have you guys replaced Eric yet?
Yeah, I'm the bass player.
I know Chaz got that question as well.
Yes. Yeah.
To be honest with you, here's another thing with this friggin' pandemic and all that.
Hard to do anything.
Hard to audition. Hard to audition.
We honestly forget the fact that it's hard to audition. I mean, we're screening people. Eric Bonesmith, by the way, is not the easiest person to replace. I don't know what you feel is his bass playing, but he's an amazing songwriter. He sings amazing.
Yeah.
He's a brother, and he's still going to stay on board, actually, and work with us writing wise and whatever. He wanted to move on and whatever. But we were put in a position, like all our European tours and all that shit has been cut off. It's not even on hold. We don't need to rush into this.
No, absolutely not. I hear you.
I wanted to bring that up because Joey's one of the candidates. He doesn't even fucking know it, but I do know he. You know what I mean? So the world is your oyster, and we really don't know, but I don't know if we're blessed or not, but we don't really need to rush into that right now. So we'll see.
Right. Okay. Yeah. It was just a question. I didn't really want to bring it up because I know Chaz had just talked about it a few weeks ago, but you know it's up in the chat, so I wanted to bring it up.
Look, we got guys. I mean, honestly, we were shut down on 2 major gigs right out of the gate when this happened. Like the world closed down 4 days before a big gig we had in the city, and then we had a gig with George Lynch coming up the weekend after.
Yeah.
Right.
Aerial Garden.
We had a guy
supposed to play in those gigs.
We had a guy. I feel really bad that because I'm going to be honest with you, that was going to be his final audition. Those 2 gigs back to back. Now we see how it goes live. We work with him and whatever, and it never happened. Right. So we have a guy, and he's dedicated, and he's probably really cool. But it's, again, the world stops. So what do we do now? We're focusing on recording our record, and we'll deal with that shit. And believe me, there's a process. People are reaching out all over the world. But I really do like the guy we were working with, and I can't disclose names right now. And that's
Les Claypool, right?
Yeah.
No,
he's too good, man.
Hate that shit.
I'm actually
Look,
going to put a short video, just a few minutes. It was actually taken by Lenny, with Derek, Rob, and me at the Huntington Fall Fest with Amanda singing.
Oh boy, this is gonna be good.
You guys will probably not be able to hear it, but it's that song. What was it? It was believe it or not, this is gonna be funny. This is a Taylor Swift song. Remember the one you started
we used to do some cool
the one you do with the I like this one because in the beginning it's just you two. So I'm gonna
that's better than having a guitar player involved.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, I hate those guys.
So I'm gonna bring it over just about. If I can figure out how to bring it over. Oh, wait a minute.
By the way, fucking guitar players.
God damn them all.
By the way, BTW.
Yeah, and I'm trying to find the video. I actually have it playing, but trying to get it over to the right screen.
Was at the Huntington Festival after Lenny won the meatball eating contest? Is that right?
No, that was a donut eating contest, I think.
Well, no, he wins them both.
Yeah. I win the Huntington one every year.
The donut one.
I am the ultimate meatball.
Okay.
That's awesome.
I just go there hungry.
Do they have paddles on standby?
Free lunch.
Do Do they have paddles on standby?
What that?
There we go.
Do they have
All
the
right.
paddles on standby? With something like that?
I hope so.
Yeah,
I
right?
haven't seen any.
Lenneth rules, man.
It is there. I don't know if you guys probably can't hear that.
Now it's on the stream. So,
You can see us at the same time too. You can actually hear the bass a little bit. Thank you.
Thank
You
God.
can definitely hear the drums.
He's the only one who knows what the fuck he's doing.
I don't think I could fuck up a Taylor Swift song, though.
Yeah, I think this
Right,
is
from
was
the
my
band,
first gig there with you guys.
It was, right? That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
I'll bring that down. We can still talk as it's playing.
Cool.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. Also, I don't think that Derek and Tommy know that Derek actually played in subbed in Tommy's band one day. Remember, Garrick? We did that gig in Philadelphia in Pump.
Yeah, I remember that.
oh, you filled in for that?
Yeah, yeah.
Tommy, you were in Punk?
I'm
He's
in Pump right now.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
Oh,
he took.
okay. No.
Yeah, he took.
Yeah, we did that
he
gig
took my
down in,
solo spot.
In PA, right? That was
Yeah, yeah. Remember that was a long ass drive, man? Right?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Not
That
to
was
cut
a
you,
fun time, though, man. That was a
not-
good time.
not to cut you guys off, but back to Joey's question about the bass player and Killcode.
Yes.
By the way, like I said, we don't really know what we're doing yet. The world is wide open. I mean, Derek, even though I've known you for fucking I don't know how many years,
Too many.
send us your fucking resume, bro.
Yeah.
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 I think you know my resume. No, I know, but it's like, yeah, other guys in the band. Aren't you looking for a pick player, though? You're looking for a pick bass player?
Not me, but maybe. Yeah. I don't like pick players, to be honest with you, but
And I am not that. I would appreciate the opportunity, but I mean, at the same time, I figured that was one of the criteria, like, because I know Eric is strictly a pick player, correct?
yeah, not 100%, but yeah. I mean, look, Chaz does like pick playing bass players.
Right.
Why
Yeah,
that
well,
is, I don't
that's
know. It's probably because he's a guitar player and he doesn't want somebody stronger overpowering him. I don't fucking know. But
No, well, sometimes it's just a tonal thing, you know. They like that tone.
Some people like that. Some people want that.
Yeah, right.
Again,
different
I'm fine with that. It's something that I kind of wanted to delve into a little bit more, just to be a little bit more rounded as a player. When I was first starting to play, I always looked down on those guys that played with picks. But then I started thinking, I'm like, but I love Paul McCartney and I love Chris Squire, and those guys play with picks. So what the fuck am I thinking? You know?
Yeah,
'cause
again,
you gotta play fingerstyle, man. You know?
Don't be a non-pick racist, dude.
this is what I love about Derek. I would never have even thought about that, but he's actually knows. Don't you want a pick player? I didn't even know that.
Right.
Right.
Not just a guy picking his nose, like a real pick player.
Apparently, that's true. That's my band, and I don't even realize.
Well, I noticed that's how Eric plays, and like I said, sometimes that's just the sound that guys want. You know, they want a pick attack on
Yeah.
in the
like I
bass
said,
line.
he's not an easy guy to replace. I mean, he's a great songwriter. He, I can't even. I love him. I miss him. I wish he never left.
Yeah, well, it kind of fucks things up for you guys, you know.
Yeah. I-
so to interrupt,
Thank God for a pandemic.
Frank from Pump just texted me and said bass players, they use pixel lane. So,
I love Frank, and that was so funny when you had Chaz on with Frank.
yes. Yes.
I
Right.
think-
You've
I
done
think
gigs
you
with Frank
actually-
too, right?
I think you actually confused Chaz because he had a guest on. His name was Frank, and I mean that's where it all starts. Like me and Chaz met. One of the first things we had in common was the fucking Jerky Boy tapes.
Uh-huh.
when we were younger.
Get me Frank Rizzo.
Right.
That's right, Frank.
We started calling each other Frank. Now, I'm telling you, dude, we've been all
Yep.
over the world. I have fucking friends and fans. They all call each other fucking Frank now.
Yeah.
It's-
So
That's a
you got to tell me
pandemic.
the actual origin of you and Chaz with the Frank thing, man. You gotta
That's
let us
how
hear
it all
this.
started.
That's how it all started. Yeah.
It was just, that was the first thing we had in common.
Yeah, was that it?
And like I said, now it's global. Like, seriously, we'll go to Germany, we'll be in Spain, whatever. Our friends are like, hey, Frank, hey, Frank, hey, Frank. It's
Yep.
a pandemic. It's crazy.
Yeah, anytime I post anything up on Facebook, all I hear is from this guy, this
Right.
fucking Frank.
That's right.
You know?
Fucking Frank.
Yeah.
That's right, Frank.
Yeah,
Well, that was,
So-
Right, I said.
yeah.
well,
So-
I jammed with a couple of you guys. I mean, obviously, I jammed with Chaz too as well in the alternative. For a while, we played a bunch of gigs together as well.
Mm-hmm.
Chaz, Rob, and I, and along with Amanda. You know, that was a fun time.
Let me tell you, like, all kidding aside, I don't have any, this whole show and whatever, I don't have a problem with guitar players. Some of the
No, I
best
know.
people I know in the world and that I've collaborated with are guitar players. And some of them, and most of them are the best friends I have. So, again, I was here to protest your show. Not
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I know.
as, I
I'm
can't.
gonna wear a shirt.
Life is really weird. When I moved to Hollywood at 18 years old, I come back like as an fucking 20 years later, and the first band I see forming that needs a drummer was Chaz and Tommy. How lucky I have been to have even fucking met those guys. That's how
Right.
this thing started. Chaz is an amazing
so-
person. He's one of the best guitar players I've ever met.
Yeah, Chaz is a great player.
He
No
really- like, even with that alternative shit, he didn't like playing any of that shit.
Mhm.
And he probably half-assed it for sure. Not probably, definitely did. But when he came to the solo and that motherfucker stands up front and starts playing, he's a rock star.
No,
There is nobody
really-
better, really, in my book. And God bless that I've met that man. And from a friend level too. He's a brother. He'd do anything for you.
Awesome.
Person.
Yeah, good dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
So,
guitar
let's-
players can be douches, but most of them. No, but seriously, like I've been fortunate to play with a lot of good guitar players over the years, great guitar players, and that's how you just jam. Like I never took formal lessons. I got better by playing with people that were better than me. That's what improved my playing. It
Well,
wasn't through running
that's not
scales
hard.
and stuff. Because that shit bored me to tears, man. I wasn't disciplined enough to sit down and, all right, let's run through scales. I'd always eventually just start writing something out of it because it just bored me. And I just got better by playing with other people. An interesting side note: the band that Rob and I played with, that Rob and I played in together when we were kids. We played with this guitar player named Rich Kern. He was a
I
kid.
wanted to get into this, but I'll let you start. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was
Amazing.
he was a fellow Kings Parker, right? And this kid played like John Petrucci played.
He was a clone, yes.
He could fly all over the fucking neck, and I forget how I hooked up with him, but I was a fledgling player, and I would be going over to his house, and I would start jamming with him, and he was showing me how to play Phantom of the Opera by Maiden and stuff, and again, fledgling player, right? And
Amazing.
I'm like, I don't know how I hooked up to them. I forget how, but then we started playing with Rob, and I got booted out of the band.
I can explain all of this, but
No, I'm not
Yeah.
bitter.
I wasn't happy about it, but keep explaining. You know the story, but go.
No, but we were slated to play the talent show at the high school, right? Wasn't that it?
Yep.
And
This is
I forget-
10th, 11th grade, guys.
yeah. And we were gonna play like I don't know, YYZ. I forget what tunes we had lined up, and we were working on them. Probably some Maiden tune, I'm sure, because I remember doing a bunch of Maiden. But
To Tame a Land. We used to play.
yeah, right. Holy shit, To Tame a Land.
And a hard song to play.
Right.
I'm saying,
Holy
Derek
fuck.
is fucking amazing. Was from day one.
That's so fucked up, To Tame a Land. But so anyway, I ended up getting a call, not from you, Rob. I remember it was from Rich, because I know you said you were conflicted about it. Even at the time, I remember that.
I'm
I
going
got-
to touch base on this. This is a must, but go ahead.
I got booted out of the band for John Petrucci's younger brother Chris, who was a great bass player. And as hurt as I was, I knew he was a better player. Like he could keep up with Rich, because Rich was just, like I said, this kid could fly all over the neck. And
John Petrucci on the bass.
Yeah. Chris was like John on the bass. I mean, it's just like, I guess it's just in their DNA, being these great technical players. And he was it. He was a year younger than me. And I remember getting that call and being like, yeah, dude, you're out of the band. I'm like, wow.
Against my will.
What's that?
Against my will. I did not agree with this.
Not bitter.
Kern,
I'm not bitter. Hey, it's
even at like 16, Kern was a control freak. So check it out. I'm going to chime in on this, and I'm sorry. So
yeah, do it.
The first band I ever was in was with two of my best friends that like got guitars for fucking Hanukkah or something when they were like fucking 15, right? Mm-hmm. And all we ever played was fucking Rock You Like a Hurricane, and I think it was Rainbow in the Dark by Dio. It was the only songs they knew. Even the mom used to say, learn a fucking new song. So I had my drums over this other guy's house. And one day I show up for a rehearsal to play the same two fucking songs. None of them are there, but this kid Kern. Now the thing with Rich Kern was John Petrucci had way too many people as far as students. So he literally would turn them on to Richard Kern to take him as students. I'm there, nobody's there. Me and him are playing like Rush. We're playing all these crazy Maiden songs, more along like what I was capable of doing. So I'm like, why don't we start a band? And he introduced Derek, and he was like, I know this guy. And next thing you know, my drums came from that guy's house to my basement, and we started a band. Now, to touch on, he explained about Chris Petrucci, and I get this call from fucking Kernist, who we called him.
He doesn't even play guitar anymore.
No, which is a whole other thing.
Yeah.
He's a monster. But he's John Petrucci. So he's like, well, we're going to have Chris play bass. And I'm like, he came down, I met him, and he was a great guy and certainly a monster. But even at a young age, and this is music business shit. I was like, but I get what you're saying, but I can see, okay, Kern was a year older than me and Derek. Me and Derek were in the same grade, and Chris was a year younger than us. So I was like, I can just see this fucking guy, when it comes time for him to graduate, he's going to go away and be like an engineer or something. And
which is what he did.
100%. I was fucking right. You never should have kicked Derek out of the band. My vote was to keep Derek, because Derek was, he was fine. Who needs
Chris was better than me. No doubt. Chris was a better player, no doubt.
I still talk to Chris like via Facebook and whatnot, and I hear from him a lot. But
Chris is a great dude. He's such a cool guy.
He does not even touch his bass for fucking 40 years.
I know. And he could probably pick it up, and in 5 months he'd be killing it again.
But when he did, ironically, when he did do exactly what I figured, that's when I was like, okay, this band I had here now is fucking broken up. I moved 3,000 miles away. I went to Hollywood, and I lived there for 20 fucking years.
That's how broken up he was about me being booted out of the band. he moved 3,000 miles away.
That's it.
He had to. He couldn't deal with being here in the area, which is understandable.
I got over it pretty quickly.
I wanted to party also. Let's face it.
Letty, let's move it on to your section.
Okay, this is the gear portion of the show.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
And what we do is we go around to everybody, and we talk about a piece of gear that they're hot on, or they dislike, or they're thinking about, and it could be not just guitar related items, could be anything. So Joey, let's start with you.
All right.
Something.
Joey over here.
Joey.
Look at Joey over here.
Let me see if it comes back up.
Just so you guys know, I'm fucking pissing right now.
Really?
Okay, yeah,
Thank you.
We're back live.
We're back.
We're back live, yeah.
We're live.
Go ahead, Jared. Go ahead. Start your section.
What's up?
Go ahead and restart yours. I don't know
I'm
where
just
we
looking
lost
to
it.
upgrade my amplification system, just pretty much to save my back, and just for a slight change. I've been playing out of a Harke 4.5 cabinet 4 years, and I just wanted to change, but that change, like I said, is subtle. I was checking out the high drive cabinets, which have way too much power, but I was testing them out right before this whole shit show started. I was actually at Sam Ash probably mid-March checking them out, and because they have it's like a hybrid aluminum cone, regular paper cone thing, where, the ones that I have are, Parquet was known for is their aluminum cone drivers, and that's what I was attracted to. The punch out of them and everything. But I'm looking to break up the pieces just again to be more portable for me and easier to haul, which is I'm looking to get a 115 and probably a 210, build a slight stack there. I haven't played out of a 15-inch cabinet in forever, so I want that kind of bass response of that 15-inch speaker, but the punch also of a 210, speakers as well. So I mean, that's the ultimate goal right now. It's but again, I was looking at these. I'm ready to pull the trigger right before all this started, and obviously, and I have no gigs on the horizon right now. So, but I was looking at an Electro Harmonics looper pedal, which I think I'm going to pull the trigger on.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Next.
All right.
Yeah.
Tommy?
Well, I have nothing this week, but I have a couple of things that will be coming in for the next show that we'll talk about. I did drop off my Nash guitar with JMB Guitars to get some work done to it.
That's my buddy over here.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it
just
is.
right. So
We all know Joe.
He's got a couple of. Joe has a couple of my guitars right now.
Awesome, yeah.
My Gold Top needed a little neck work that I couldn't do. I need a little grind and polish to get that thing back up, and then I handed it to him, and he was like, "Fuck, that's heavy." Yeah. So it's that, and then my Nash, I'm throwing in a couple of humbuckers into it because I want to be able to use it differently, and I can always throw the Strat pickguard back in. So I'm doing that. Then there's one other thing that I'll have for the next show that'll be entertaining. So
cool.
Thanks.
Okay. All right. Well, I got one. Actually, I don't really have anything, but it's a whole bunch of shit. It's I went to the website for futone.com.
Yep.
Adam and his amazing staff over there have all kinds of upgraded technologies for your super strats, hot rodded strats, and guitars. I mean, they have different types of titanium blocks for your tail pieces and your tremolo units, and I just love everything about that they have to offer. It's just they just make it so easy for, if you're looking to upgrade your tone performance on your guitars, mainly like Stratocasters and stuff. He's like the go-to guy. I mean, they got special tools and tuners and different types of tremolo pieces and parts that you would never think anybody would have. And this guy, not only are we going to have him on in a future episode of Musings, Rants, and Guitars, but I just think he's done an outstanding job with being able to present all these things to people like us. Awesome. So
great.
It's my hot pick. Yeah.
It's gonna be a good conversation, man.
Yeah.
futone.com if you want to check it out. I'm sure most of the people tuning in know who he is.
Right.
Maybe I'm late to the party.
So Rob, you're the last one up. So you got something? You got a piece of gear or something that you like or dislike?
Well, I mean, first of all, I've always been one, and I honestly, I love this segment on your show, but I'm not one to talk shop much. I'm not. And the thing with drums with me is I really ain't picky about anything. You can try something out at the Guitar Center, or you can be at DW's showroom and try something, and you bring it on stage, it doesn't sound the same. So I really don't give a shit. If I fucking hit it and it sounds great live when I'm recording, that's the shit I use. Okay.
You should ask Tommy about hitting stuff.
I do.
Yeah, you know what?
I want to touch base.
Drummer answer.
I
can hit it.
Caveman.
Listen, I want
fucking caveman.
I do want to touch base on guitar players and their fucking gear. Okay.
Here we go.
Here we go. Wait. I think I have a helmet. Wait a minute. Let me get a helmet on.
Man.
I've always been a wise ass when I even go into auditions.
Yeah.
You know, like, for example, there was a guy that was playing a cowbell, and I'm the new guy auditioning for a pretty big band, and I just stop in the middle and say, are you going to play that fucking cowbell every fucking song? You know? But there was this one, I'm not going to name names, and this is what I don't get about you fucking guys, to be quite honest with you.
To be frank,
we haven't even started. We're all setting up, and everybody's setting up this shit, and they're like, "Oh, this had to be in the '90s." Even he's like, "Oh, I just got this new fucking tuner. It finally was delivered, and it was like $600-$700." And he's bragging about it, and the other guys are almost like, "Wow, that's really cool." And I just fucking simply said to him, "You must have a real shitty ear, dude. Like, how can't you fucking tune your guitar?" Why am I even here auditioning with you? You can't tune your guitar by fucking ear? Come on, guys.
Yeah, you don't. Some fancy schmancy
player that I know, all he does is plug into a fucking Marshall. He doesn't have a pedal at all, and just fucking shreds and has the best tone. So, a lot of the shit, all that shit I'm seeing behind you is practically nonsense, to be honest.
Yes, absolutely. And you know, it's funny
that's my fucking segment of you.
That's what we came for. That's what we came for.
And when it comes down to recording and
play
stuff,
your
obviously,
fucking guitar. Just
I plug in straight, and I plug into an old amplifier. I don't plug into anything new. You know, like that's just the way it is. So our next section is the one that everybody's looking forward to, right? It's the fuck you section.
Oh boy!
All right? Before we do that, I want to say, man, we really had a great time with Steve Lynch last week.
Yeah.
You know, I gave him the fuck you, and
we all did.
We didn't really give him a heads up we were doing that, and he took it the way it was meant to be. It is a compliment without a doubt.
Of course.
So this week we never do the same order, and I don't like to give the guests first because I want them to kind of see what we're doing. So this week first, Lenny, who's your fuck you to?
All right. Well, this really isn't a fuck you. It's more of a, I'm glad to have been able to see you live on a bunch of occasions and really get into your music. It's Paul Chapman, who played in UFO and Lone Star, who replaced actually Michael Schenker in the 80s when Schenker went off into Schenkerland. First time seeing UFO, he was their guitar player. And I just thought the guy who had obviously big shoes to step into did a fantastic job. And the 3 recordings that I know that he did with UFO, No Place to Run, The Wild, Willing, and the Innocent, and then later on Mechanics, were groundbreaking records for the band. And it's what he brought to the table that helped, in my opinion, the version of UFO that I really loved. And just a couple of days ago, on his 66th birthday, he passed away.
Right.
And the weird thing is about a week before that, I emailed him to see if he would be on the show. Because there have been times where I was streaming live from the bar. He would, because I'm friends on Facebook, he would tune in. I see that he's listening and watching the bands that we had playing.
Right.
So he read the message, and then I never heard from him again. He died.
Yeah.
You're going to.
Great player. I mean, he stepped in for band Skid Row, which was before the Skid Row that we know, which featured Gary Moore. When Gary Moore left to join Thin Lizzy, he replaced him in Skid Row, and then he later on went to replace Schenker in UFO. So, incredible player. Grew up listening to him, and sorely missed. So he's not really an FU, but just somebody I really admire.
It's hard to give somebody who's passed away a fuck you.
Yeah.
So
I
think we can make the exception because it's definitely a fuck you respect.
Yes.
Fuck you. You deserve the respect. So, all right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out of order. Derek, give me your fuck you this week.
Again, along with Lenny, I'm not gonna necessarily give a fuck you, but an amazing player that I saw. I don't know, was it 8 months ago, maybe now? Went up to Daryl's house, upstate New York, and saw this band called the Aristocrats.
They let
Guthrie Govan. amazing fucking player. I mean, all the musicians. There was Marco Miniman on drums and Brian Beller on bass. Trio, like Thee Unstrung instrumental trio.
Insane.
And my band, we went up there to check these guys out, and Guthrie Govan really fucking blew me away. I couldn't believe how good this guy was. English guy, you know, just he had like all sorts of styles just down, just like killing it. Just the whole band was fucking great. I mean, really, just killer. And it's so great seeing him in a setting like that. You know, like where you were. I was standing on like the side of the stage, basically watching these guys, and killer. So like, fuck you to him because he's British and he's a fucking killer player. So yeah.
There you go. You got it. You got it. You got the right thing. All right,
you.
Rob, who's your fuck you to?
Well, first off, out of due respect, because I do understand how this really works. My brother, Chaz, fuck you. Amazing. The guy Rich Kern we were talking about, who doesn't even fucking play guitar, fuck you. And,
yeah, really. I mean, he's into photography now.
Yeah. And then DC Gonzalez, I mean, he's an amazing guitar player also, and he looks way too good on stage, so fuck him. And my buddy Chris Munger in my world is fucking the most obnoxious, craziest player I've ever heard, let alone tried to play with, so fuck him. But I will give you a legitimate one. Probably my favorite guitar player, I guess, is Alex Lifeson. Fuck you.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, the best guitar player in the world. Even when in the 80s, when they went to like Grace Under Pressure with Rush, and all the fans were like, we don't like the new Rush, like, and he didn't like it from whatever I used to read because it was way too many keyboards or whatever. If you go back and listen to like Red Sector A and shit on that album where he was miserable with the direction of the band, the guitar playing on it is fucking exquisite. His sound,
I love Alex. One of my favorite guitar players.
He's the best guitar player.
Absolutely. Love him.
So fuck them.
Fuck him. All right.
And like I said earlier, fuck your show.
All right. Tommy, who do you got this week?
I have two things. First off, I decided during the week that I need to really. I think we talked about this last week. You know, to listen to albums, right? Listen to top to bottom, and I started doing that as per my promise. But the last thing I heard today, and I just want to touch on this briefly. The last whole record I listened to today was "What's Going On" by Marvin Gaye, and he wrote a perfect record for the time and a perfect record for right now, which is fascinating. That this and they didn't even know what to do with the record, right? When it came out, they were like, "Where's our dance songs? Where's all this?" He put out a perfect record for the times, and it holds up to today. So fuck you, Marvin Gaye. But other than that, guitar player Brian May. I listened to a couple of Queen records from beginning to end.
Douchebag.
He's amazing.
And then he's a complete. And then the shit he does now, like he's doing like these Zoom or YouTube stuff where he does the track and then sends it out, and people are just playing along with him. This woman who I don't know, I think she's South American. She did "Love of My Life," and just you could tell. Like some people, she was one of the people who were just head and shoulders above everybody else who's just fucking around on Facebook. I've been trying to keep up with who's playing and seeing all these different people with these different, in these different Facebook groups, and they're doing their thing, their COVID live and their distance concerts and all this. And first off, there's way too many left-handed guitar players because they have no idea what they're doing. So, fucking, oh my God, hit the button, it turns it around. So, but Brian May, anything he does or anything, it's just, the man had a heart attack a couple of weeks ago too.
Yeah,
and he's back. He's posted that he feels much better.
Yeah. And you know what?
So
you
fuck
put
him.
on any track that Brian May played on, it's him immediately.
Absolutely. The second.
Chaz will tell you the same. That's
He said it last week, and I just had to agree with him because I went back and listened to. I listened to jazz, which is just a fucking great record.
Yeah.
And I listened to Queen 2 just because I wanted to hear, Seven Seas of Rye again.
Yep.
Yeah, wow.
Fucking. So I listened to those two, and just another band that saw growth like the Beatles. Like from I Want to Hold Your Hand, all to Sgt. Pepper was only 4 years.
Yeah.
In 4 years, they progressed like that.
Insane, man.
Insane.
Yeah.
Anyway, Brian May.
Yep.
Fuck it.
All right, so
no doubt.
mine's gonna be one that's usually on Tommy's hit list is Ian Thornley.
What he
Big
did
Red
this week.
put out. They put out a short live video from it was Nashville, I think, right? Is that where it was?
Yeah.
Nashville.
Nashville.
This is a Nashville show, and it only contained the new songs that they did in this last tour. Man, I went with Tommy to go see them at the Gramercy here in New York, and it was good. I got some great video.
Yeah.
He broke down in points. He had it was very emotional. It was his first shows after Brian passed away. But to watch that guy play and sing like that is it's a treat. So fuck you, Ian Thornley. And you're probably like 6'7" too. Fuck you.
Probably a tiny dick though.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. It's,
I would hope.
my God. Yeah, no.
That's the hope. We can only hope. That's the
Either
case.
that or it's like a baby arm holding an apple.
I know.
It was John Stewart, right?
Yeah.
So, John Stewart.
Quickly for MRG, we have for the first time we have a backup of guests coming up. I haven't told the guys. I was contacted today about from Joey T, and I'll talk to you about him later. I know we have Andy Aladort coming up, right?
Andy's coming up to tell us stories of Yngwie, and I was on the phone with him, and he told me stories that we can't tell.
Okay.
So it's
going to be that.
But who knew that Yngwie was 6'3"? I had no idea.
What?
I've met him.
Really?
That tall?
I've met
Holy
him.
shit.
He is tall, yes.
I wonder why his hands look
Wow.
so
I didn't know he was that tall.
I had no idea, because you know how big he is? Goes, watch the video. Watch me interviewing him. If you look at him, he actually dwarfs the Strat.
Really? Wow.
He's a big
That's
guy,
crazy.
yeah. I met him at
Yeah.
the Rainbow.
I didn't know he was that tall.
Yeah.
I thought he was smaller than that. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's got some great stories. He was in Dickie Betts' band for 10 years. It's gonna be a good show, and then we have a few other people up our sleeve.
Yeah, we got Jimmy Bell's coming up.
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk to him. He reached out to us after after Steve was on last week. Jimmy replaced Steve in Autograph. Very amicable thing there. Jimmy is a player. Wow, what a player, man. And we got the guys from FU Tone coming up, and the other one that I'm not going to mention yet because we haven't got a date yet. But I'll talk to the guys. I just talked to him today, so we got that one. Also, a close friend of mine will be coming on. Hopefully, I haven't actually talked to him.
Oh, cool.
But,
You have friends?
He's a close friend of mine. He was a roommate in California, and I'm hoping he will do us the honor. And he was best friends with a very well-known guitar player.
Yeah, and we'll talk a couple of things offline too. I have a couple of people who I want to have on, and I'm not sure whether they're going to want to come on. So we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Yeah. So we can talk for a few minutes. I am actually going to run one of Rob's videos as we leave.
Guys, thank you so much.
I'm doing.
Thanks for having us.
Rob.
Really. This is a pleasure.
I miss you guys, and I hope to see you all.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, really.
Absolutely.
Derek, a pleasure, man.
Same here.
Maybe we get together and jam. I
Yeah.
got my studio open here, so let's do it, man.
Yeah, let's get together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This is a blast, guys. Thanks so much for.
Guys, you were the best. Thank you, Lenny. Always great talking to you on here, man. Guys,
Rob, as
subscribe.
we're leaving, we do have your video run from My World. So Rob is also in My World. So that's on. You guys, that is I love this stuff. It's tight, man.
It's
I
great.
love playing with blessed to have been asked to even work with these maniacs. Like I said, I mean, straight up rock and roll band, Killcode is all great, and we do great stuff. But like playing with My World is, I don't even understand it. My job, honestly, is to try to keep it so people can tap their foot to the fucking shit. It's very fucking hard to do. They're all over the place.
I can see that.
It's awesome.
All right, guys. So we're gonna sign off.